Chicago is a city with history, a whole lot of history, including some haunted tales. From a headless horseman to a haunted theater, we're taking a deep dive into Chicago's haunted history today.
Author, historian, and tour guide Adam Seltzer joins us now with more. And it's fascinating. We're talking the break. There's so much history to Chicago.
So much.
And a lot of it's spooky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you love it.
Love it, yeah. You know, I love solving these mysteries. I love finding out who these people were in the cemetery and figuring out what the real story was behind some of these ghost lore tales that we have in Chicago.
Okay, so the tour you've got coming up, you're going to take a bunch of stops like the fire station on Dearborn.
Well, this will be a virtual tour tonight. Yes,
Oh,
we're going to be talking about, on a virtual tour, we can go all over the place.
Yeah.
So we can go to places we could never get to on one regular tour. So yeah, the fire station on Dearborn is on the site of the old criminal court and jail.
Okay, exactly. Dearborn and what's the
Dearborn,
cross street?
Illinois.
Illinois, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
the
right
back
down
side
street.
of the criminal
Yep.
court building that is still standing. And there are just so many stories about this place, I don't even know where to begin. It was said to be haunted while it was standing. There was even a wing that the warden would try to keep from putting prisoners in because everybody got so spooked there. They said that they would hear the sound of the gallows being erected night after night after night. They really only put them together when there's going to be a hanging.
Okay, okay.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, so then we're going to head south to 47th and Loomis?
47th and Loomis was the site of the Pullman strikes in 1894. There's always been rumors that there's a headless horseman who haunts those grounds.
Ooh.
And look at this picture. This is exactly where I would go riding if I were a headless horseman.
Right, yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
found a lot of history that really backs that up, but sometimes the ghost story is just how the history survives.
Yeah, I mean, that is creepy in itself. Okay, now what about the Hull House?
Now, Hull House has been said to be haunted since at least 1889. When Jane Addams moved into town, she said that they already had stories about it being haunted, and she found that the previous tenants had been setting up buckets of water on top of the stairs because there was a rumor that ghosts could not cross over water. That's why Ichabod Crane has to get across the bridge to get away from the Headless Horseman. It's a very old superstition about ghosts.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Iroquois Theater. Now, I can imagine
I remember
why
that
one.
one.
Yeah,
is in fact-
about 600 people were killed in the fire there. And once again, the ghost story started very early on. You see this photograph they took. This is a close-up of the balcony, and there are these translucent people up there. It's probably just a camera thing, but you can see how this would inspire a ghost story for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my
It's a very
goodness.
eerie picture in any case.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to throw a theory out there myself. With
Sure.
the Great Chicago Fire having done so much damage throughout the city, could that be a reason why the city is so haunted?
It could be. The Great Chicago Fire doesn't seem to have had that high of a body count. The
no.
Iroquois Theater had twice as many people die.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But, you know, lots of other cities have been burned down as well. New York had a massive fire in 1776. London, I think, 1666. Large cities just tended to burn down in those days.
Okay.
But those cities both have a lot of ghost stories, too.
Well, we were talking about, too, people don't realize how many bodies are in and around Chicago because of the fire. Markers got destroyed.
Right.
Nobody came back to get the bodies, and they're still there.
Right. The Lincoln Park, they estimate about 10,000 bodies never got moved. There's a couple of references to there being a burial ground where the merchandise mart is now that we don't know much about. There was one right about where the water tower is now. And there was a cholera burial pit in the 1830s about where Wabash is now in the Loop. And we're not even really sure where these were exactly.
Yeah,
But
and
certainly people did not get moved.
Then Douglas Park, wasn't there one under Douglas Park, too? And down by the
believe there
baseball
was.
diamonds,
Yeah, down by
too?
the baseball diamonds. There was one kind of by McCormick Center.
Yeah, it's
I think it's been
crazy.
estimated there were about 60 lost burial grounds around Chicago that we know of. Most of them were little family plots, but some were very large.
Wow.
How did you get into this ghost hunting?
Scooby-Doo.
Seriously?
I do.
On Channel 9 when I was a kid watching Scooby-Doo
funny.
and thinking about driving around in a van solving mysteries. That was kids in Chicago having a good time watching Channel 9.
Wow.
So,
People
That is
must
great.
love your tours then.
I think we have a really good time on my tours, yeah.
Okay.
So how did you get those started?
I answered an ad on Craigslist about 20 years ago. And then I started doing more and more research just so I had more things to talk about on the tours and more places that I could go on the tours. And that led me into doing things like cemetery tours that aren't really ghost related. They're still kind of spooky. But the cemetery tours are so much fun. The cemetery is just one big collection of mysteries to solve.
Well, at Graceland, we have some beautiful cemeteries. Graceland Cemetery and some very famous people buried there.
Absolutely. And even some of the best stories are in unmarked graves, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Were you a history major or something?
If I knew I was going to be doing this much history, I would have been
You
a
would
history
have,
major. I was
yeah.
an English major.
Okay.
This is what you do with the BA in English.
Okay. And people can still sign up for some tours you've got coming
Yes,
up, right?
I've still got one at Graceland Cemetery. It's going to be a double-length one on Saturday morning. There's just a few tickets left for that one. You can go to adamchicago.com. That'll link you to tickets or tonight's virtual tour.
That's amazing.
All right, tickets
Adam.
are available for that
Yes.
still.
Thank you so much for
Adam,
joining
Thanks,
us.
Taylor.
you.
Thanks, Beyonce.
Oh,
These are
we appreciate it.
fantastic. Yeah.